Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Nerdsplain It, your favorite comic book podcast. A comic book podcast for every level of nerd, where we discuss comics in a way that is easy to digest for newcomers and presents new discussions and information for some comics and to dedicated fans and to new readers. As always, you can reach out to us on the Nerdsplain It helpline at 805-669-7230. We want to take a second to thank all of our new listeners for tuning in. We want to thank all of our established listeners for keeping us going. Don't forget to hit us up on our social medias, the Facebook, the Twitter, smoke signals. I don't know what we're using now. I don't know where we are with technology.
I don't know how old you are. You just referred to it as the Facebook and the Twitter.
That's
it was the Facebook when I joined in 2005, and I needed a college email address for that.
I don't know where we are technologically. As always, I am House, joined by my fellow horsemen of the Nerd Apocalypse. I got Dave to my right. We got Wookie back behind me.
Hi.
And for the first time, broadcasting from Nerdsplain It HQ in the Hooch in St. Louis, Missouri, Jess.
Hey.
So we're really excited to have the team together. We're not going to leave out Greg though. He's got some family stuff today. He's hanging out with the fam. So we're gonna take the reins this week. We do miss you, buddy. We can't wait to have you back on the next episode. He's the
reins of Castamere. Oh shit!
He's our sexual chocolate.
Huh?
He's our sexual chocolate.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw him as sexual hazelnut.
That's fair. That's fair. I
don't even know what that means. I'm going to find out that that's on Urban Dictionary. I'm going to look it up on Urban Dictionary and find out that it's something horrible that I just called him.
Probably. I got to finally wrap my arms around the man last weekend, so that
was it as good as I imagined it would be?
It felt good. He's taller than I thought he was.
Really?
You always see the whole, oh, I thought you'd be taller. I thought I was going to give him one of those lines. I was like, no, you're taller than me.
See, I think that's what sets us apart from other podcasts. How many podcasts do you listen to where many of the people on it have actually never met each other?
Right.
This is the EverQuest chat room of podcasts. We go off, we get married. All right, hang on. Sexual hazel.
This needed to be looked up.
Yeah, I'm on Urban Dictionary. Woohoo! They couldn't find anything.
Oh.
But they do have something for hazelnut, and I'm not about to click on that. Not on Urban Dictionary.
Dave learns a lesson.
I retract nothing, and I've learned something today. Oh, we need that on a t-shirt.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're constantly brainstorming for some merchandise ideas. When we start rolling that stuff out, we've had some real barn burners. I can't wait to put some of those on t-shirts.
Mm-hmm. I think everyone needs sort of a catchphrase.
Yes.
We'll also make one based on me today that says "Hey-oh," and then in the middle of it, I'm not done, and it'll continue on the back of the shirt just with a bunch of O's.
Or on the back, yours could you say, "I cough while recording"?
Okay, I mean, you can have fucking shit balls and tits.
Because that's all I can say. Or here, I have to clap every time I start a damn sentence.
Actually, yours should just say, "I have to clap," so people will misread it because I have to clap. That's an amazing shirt. I have to clap.
Jess,
and people go, "What does your shirt say?" I'll tell you.
What kind of typography do we use to confuse people for that? Because I want that shirt now.
Comic papyrus. I feel like anybody who uses comic papyrus probably has to clap anyway.
So, before we dive into today's episode, we want to send another thank you out to all the people that call in with a bunch of the requests for episodes. We've gotten a bunch of requests. We haven't gotten to all of them yet. We do have a Captain America episode that coming up pretty soon that we're going to do. That was by request. Today, we're going to be addressing the request for an Infinity War review type episode, and we're going to just kind of discuss how we all felt about the Infinity War movie. We did do an Infinity War episode. Jess keeps track of the requests that we have come in, and she kind of forwards it to us, and then we kind of figure out when we're going to get the episodes done.
Hear that, listeners? It's like we're an exclusive nightclub, and you're on the list to get in. That's got to feel good. Nerds, we don't get that very often.
At least we're not on Jericho's list.
Huh?
At least we're not on Jericho's list.
I'd be okay with that.
I mean,
I'd be okay with being on that list.
I just want to get yelled at, to be honest.
If it gets me onto the Rock and Wrestling Ranger, I'd be so freaking excited.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd buy him a taco at sea.
There you go. So
All right, well, I'm looking taco at sea up on Urban Dictionary now. That also sounds like that's a thing.
So while Dave looks up, God knows what's going to happen there. Jerry, what have you been doing nerd-wise lately?
Catching up on some Star Wars comics. Charles Soule has a cool Darth Vader run going. They're about to go into how Darth Vader gets his castle on Mustafar. So that's going to be fun. Look forward to that.
His lava castle.
Yeah.
Jess, what have you been doing nerd-wise?
Well, I moved to St. Louis and I added my collection.
To the hooch. Oh, yeah, I think here pretty soon, listeners, we're up on our Facebook and our website and stuff. We're actually going to have to throw up some 360 photos of what the Nerdsplain It HQ, the hub of what we do here. We're going to send those up, and so you guys can see where we record out of, see how we roll. Did we find anything at Taco at Sea?
No, but the alternatives I'm going to look at later.
Moving
on. Davey boy.
I like to think that the hooch here, which is what we call this room, brings all the ladies to this house.
It has brought
and
at least.
So we're like the Temple of Poon. Kind of like the Temple of Doom.
This is true.
Actually, it's not. Nerdwise, Nerdwise has been kind of slow. I've been trying to catch up on my weekly comics. It's been hectic, around here trying to get everything moved in and set up, everything like that. So it's mostly been trying to make everyone as comfortable as possible, integrate a dog and a cat.
That's been awesome.
And get things taken care of. So it's been a little slow. I haven't. I did accidentally binge watch the second season of Glow on Netflix. Loved it. Still working my way through Jessica Jones season 2. I'm finding that I have to work through it. It's not grabbing me like I kind of hoped it was, or like the first season did.
Right.
I don't know. Have we watched any new show? I mean, even our movies and everything has been, we watched Rampage and.
It was Rampage, and Rampage was fun considering what the source material was, just 3, pixelated animals beating up buildings. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of heart to it. I mean, it wasn't more than it really needed to be.
Yeah, I mean, that movie wasn't going for high art, which
No.
would have been ridiculous if it did. It
Right.
knew exactly what. It's kind of like Pacific Rim in that way. Pacific Rim knows exactly what it is.
Right. Or like.
Well, as I've said earlier this week, while whittling away time at work, I have finally beaten Super Mario World. I never had a Super NES as a kid, so I've finally beaten that on a. And then I got further in Aladdin on the Genesis than I've ever gotten, and possibly further than any human being has ever gotten. Because that game is
hard.
Fucking impossible. It's not Lion
so
King
hard.
hard, though.
Yeah, so hard.
Aladdin's my go-to test game at work because I have to test out old systems.
Well, it's because
Aladdin gets hard when you get to the Cave of Wonders on the magic carpet. Oh my god.
Yeah, because I mean that's something you want to. You just need to test the system for a couple of seconds, and that's all you're going to be alive.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Or it's like the other one I would go with was a Comics Zone.
Yeah.
Speaking of impossible.
Yeah, here you get one attempt to beat the whole game. You're gonna die 4 seconds in, and just keep having to start over.
Well, and they just did Games Done Quick for the year, which is a speed running sort of convention that they do for charity every year. So they just did Summer Games Done Quick. I have not looked up. I need to see if I can find someone who speed runs Comic Zone. Because I just want to see what that game looks like all the way through. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've seen the whole first level. I have beaten the first level. I couldn't tell you what the second level looks like because I think I got 3 panels into it and broke a TV because I just couldn't do it anymore.
What about you? No one ever asked you questions.
Oh, I don't really have much to say.
It's only a
keeping up on Man of
podcast.
Steel?
The issues? I have been.
Because I just got the 6th issue this week.
I need to read the 6th issue. I have been keeping up with that. The 6th issue is the final issue.
Yeah.
Of this short run. I'm really excited. I'll be happy to own that when it comes out in trade. I'll definitely buy that. It's been a really, really strong series, and now I think it's going to be the climax for that with Rhaegal Zar, I think is his name, the villain they brought in before Brian Michael Bendis takes on Superman and Action.
Yeah, starting with Action 1001.
Yep.
I got a question for you about. He gets his red trunks back.
Yes.
How many panels is his Speedo shopping?
Like four pages of it.
They're Spanx, not Speedos.
Yeah, they're Spanx. So
Oh, okay.
right. You lepton.
Troglodyte.
Troglodyte.
We're only going to use like elevated insults, so we got Troglodyte, Leptine, Philistine will come out later.
Right. Or if you really piss me off, Slagathor.
Oh, Dave's, Debbie's, Slagathor.
Yeah,
what are we doing today?
Yeah, we are doing today what we, by request, people wanted to know what we thought of the Marvel Avengers Infinity War movie. We did the Infinity War episode based, talking about the actual graphic novel, what was going on in that, and what people could kind of expect if they had, recently read Infinity War and going into the movie. Now that all four of us have seen it, finally got Jess to kind of watch it last night. It was my second viewing of it. I know Jerry's seen it at least once.
Yep.
So we want to preface this right here, right now, because this is a huge spoiler warning for the remainder of the episode. We're going to be talking about the plot of the movie. May not necessarily be sequentially or the events as they happen, but our overall impression of the movie, how it, especially about that ending. We're probably going to talk about where we think that Avengers 4 is going to be. So let's just kick
on the movie screen.
On the movie screen, that might be where it's at.
So I know that you have a hard time liking Marvel films. You're just not necessarily a fan. The characters don't really capture you, anything like that. So with that overall mentality going into it, how did you like it? Overall, would you say you liked it or didn't like it?
I want to do it. I'll probably give an out of 1 to 10 rating at the end of the episode, but I'll say it was pretty close to middle of the road for me. I felt it was predictable. There wasn't anything that really surprised me. I was happy that it wasn't as quippy as other ones of their movies. I liked that the villain didn't quip in this one as opposed to in Age of Ultron, where we had a really quippy villain that it really felt out of place. I can't see, a lot of people decided when they came out of the movie that I talked to, they felt like they were able to sympathize or empathize with Thanos, and they were like, "Oh no, his you raised your hand."
I did,
and you'll defend the point here, shortly. In that, okay, no, his plan makes sense, or there is some rationale behind it, and the rationale for his plan is something I can't necessarily get behind. His whole plan is, eliminate half the life in the universe so that everyone who's left can live longer and more prosperous. I think things need to come to an end, and it's not. It's really arrogant for one person to say, "Nope, this is what I think is right, and because I think it's right, and because I have the strong will to make it happen, this is what's going to need to be done." No, let all life end, and that includes. I mean, this is a little dark, but that includes. That's our. Speaking for our universe too, life's gonna end. I mean. There's billions of billions.
Spoiler alert for existence.
Yeah, right.
I really hope this isn't your child's first podcast.
Right. So that I just couldn't necessarily agree with, and the fact that people were able to relate to Thanos because he shed one tear right before he kills Gamora. That's not strong enough ground for me to say, oh, they really showed some depth of character here, and you really saw how much he sacrificed. Nah, he threw away one of the quote-unquote children that he has, and the comics tell us, he's got thousands of children, so it's really not like he lost all that much. There was no real connection there.
Well, the comics do, but that's not established in the movies.
That's fine. Even just within the movie universe, showing one sequence of Thanos with Gamora when she's a child is not enough to go, oh, I see what they went through together that shows that he would really care about her. The second that the Red Skull starts implying that, okay, you're going to have to make a sacrifice to do this. I was like, oh, he's going to kill Gamora. But I know she had, and that it leads to my overall problem with the movie, was that I already knew so many of these other movies were scheduled, like Black Panther 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the next Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Away From Home. I already know those movies are scheduled and coming out, so you offing all of these characters at the end of the movie holds no weight for me. So that the ending fell flat and didn't have any weight to it.
Okay, but when you say it was predictable, but then your example is Red Skull saying you're going to have to sacrifice something you love, and then you know he's going to sacrifice for more. You saw that coming like 2 minutes before it happened. That's like seeing a truck stuck on the train tracks, the train bearing down, and going, that train's going to hit that truck. No shit.
No, the overall the
recognizance.
the overall the beats of the movie were predictable. I mean, it wasn't. I knew at the end of this because I already knew that there was going to be a fourth Avengers movie, and they had already announced that hey, it's going to have something to do with what happens in this. I went, oh, okay, the villain's going to win. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to see a villain win in a movie. That's why I like the first Jeepers Creepers movie. The monster wins. So was it cool to actually see Thanos snap his fingers, kill all these people? Sure, but it fell flat for me.
To be fair, you also have a significant attachment to the new metal era of the early 2000s.
No, I don't.
When that movie came out.
No, I didn't. I didn't want to listen to Limp Bizkit.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you were a Godsmack fan.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. Let's not sit here. I've heard the music that gets played in your car. There is some new metal sensibilities there.
We're not going to sit here and compare the music that gets played in each other's cars.
I listen to a wide variety.
You listen to some crap, that's for sure. Okay, so now that I've had my diatribe, what would you like to do? Wookie, what was your overall impression? Like that,
So I went into it really wanting to like it. It's 10 years in the making. I've seen them all in theaters. They've pitched it as this is going to change everything, and I was like, oh man, it's going to change everything. I left so highly disappointed.
Fair enough.
Because same points you were making, everything I was expecting to happen did happen, but to characters that we know the outcome's going to get reversed. If they would have killed Cap, you would have been like, oh crap,
because he doesn't have a movie schedule.
He doesn't have a movie coming out. His contract's up. He said he's about to bounce. It would have made sense. Instead,
he's going on to do Snowpiercer too.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
But instead, they kill everybody who is for sure coming back. Black Panther made $1 billion.
Yep.
No way they're leaving him dead.
Right.
So I just left going, wow, this is clearly a part 1 of 2, which so far Marvel has been so good about that. Yes, there are sequels, but each one of their movies end. This one was just, nope, this is a part 1 of 2, so I will give it more after part 2 comes out if it's a complete story. But right now, I just felt like it's the end of Hobbit part 1 when they're like, okay, well, let's keep walking, guys. And I was so disappointed.
Well, they're not really walking so much as just floating particles of dust, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
I almost want to see Marvel just throw a huge middle finger to the fans. And like Black Panther 2, it's not T'Challa, it's his sister.
Well, that's one thing.
Because they've done that in the comics, so
everyone...
I almost want them to not bring back characters for these sequels that are already written out. And just be like, nope, see?
Everyone they killed, like Spider-Man, there has been multiple Spider-Men. Guardians of the Galaxy does have a revolving crew. Right. Black Panther does change hands every now and then. It's a title of Wakanda, more or less. So there is a slight possibility, minus all the actors have contracts and filming has already started and all that.
Chadwick Boseman could just be in a dream sequence.
Oh.
See? Just like his dad.
Lord knows he's tired of it at this point, too. Have you seen his sad Wakanda Forever? Not so forever anymore. Oh. Yeah, it's sad.
Jess, you just watched it for the first time last night. You're still soaking that in.
Still processing.
Yeah.
The empathy people have for Thanos, I don't get it. The only time I had any empathy was when Gamora thought she had killed him and she fell apart. That reminded me of Man of Steel in that moment. But, it's not going to get as much criticism as...
Oh, of course not. It's not a DC property.
I had a little empathy there, but...
What'd you think of how the story was, laid out in totality? I
was entertained. It's not one of my favorites.
That's something I can say that I did enjoy about it. And it's not that it's a bad movie. I would never sit here and say that, Infinity War was a bad movie. Was it necessarily up my alley? No, not necessarily. There were things that... No, but I can respect it for what it was. It was, like Jerry said, it was a decade in the making. It really showed what a full team-up movie should be like. And I felt that a lot of the character moments were really good. It wasn't as quippy, but and the Drax like standing still that went on just a shade too long. But that was good. We Peter Quill and going back and forth with Thor, and Quill going back and forth with Tony Stark. Those were good moments. I thought those were good moments. Or like when Doctor Strange and Tony are going back and forth.
Oh,
those were great moments. Well acted.
My favorite.
Yeah, they were really, really good.
Like how many other movies are you going to get to actually watch somebody tell Tony Stark he's a douchebag?
Yeah.
I freaking love that. Because there's that pregnant pause after he says, protecting your reality. Pause. Douchebag. Jesus.
And then one thing that did kind of reinstill some hope in the Marvel movies, because after seeing Black Panther and how just bad the CGI was in Black Panther, the CGI was on point for Infinity War. It really, really was. There wasn't really any botches that I saw anywhere. There was no rubberiness. It was solid from beginning to end for the CGI, which was really refreshing after seeing Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
But see, Black Panther also caused a lot of problems for me in Infinity War. Because the whole point of Black Panther was Killmonger wanting to sell these weapons that are hugely powerful and all that. And then they weren't there in Infinity War.
Didn't see any of these.
Any high-tech weapons or anything.
We saw
like
the weapons didn't necessarily exist in big enough numbers, and he didn't get any of the weapons out.
Well, we did see a Phantom Menace Force Bubble Shield.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Marvel's constantly ripping off Star Wars. I love it.
So, Dave, to you.
I must be the only one in the movie that really liked it. I absolutely loved it. Because I think I went in wanting to like it, expecting not to. Which is weird. My brain was rocking two different modes right there. When it came, I honestly did expect that they were going to cop out the ending and kind of nerf Thanos. I pronounce it Thanos, I always have. Screw you, I'm not changing. But I thought they were going to nerf Thanos. I was really worried about that. But right from the get-go, he boxes the Hulk into a little bitch.
Yeah.
Like that. He just tees off with the Hulk and has really no problems with him. Mm-hmm. His motivations were right on point. The issue I have with the motivation is he talks about wiping out half of all life. Well, plant and animal life is still life. So if he snaps his fingers and half the plants and half the animals die, you haven't solved the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
You've wiped out, you still have too many living beings and not enough resources. Now, if the Gauntlet was able to interpret his intention, which it appears it did...
For sentient life?
Then, yeah, exactly. Then fine, I get that. I'm a big Josh Brolin fan. I was so excited that he got the role of... that he was, got into the role of Thanos, and I loved his performance. There was very few moments where I saw Josh Brolin behind that face. There was one when he's talking about Tenelar Tavir, or when he's choking out, or he's holding down the Collector, and the Collector says something about suicide, and he Brolin lets out this, so you do understand, and there's this half smile that to me is like the Brolin half smile. Mm-hmm. And I was like, there's a guy. But I also like that the Russos put in the Arrested Development Easter egg in the Collector scene, since they were, creators and producers and directors on Arrested Development. They did the same thing in Civil War.
Yeah, they had the
blue stair card.
Yeah.
Like I say, as far as predictability, it wasn't necessarily for me because I was very cynical going in. I expected Thanos to be a one-movie villain. The snap of the fingers, I really didn't think that they were actually going to do it. I didn't know that it was going to wipe out so many of the heroes, let alone basically everyone but the initial four Avengers. Like, that's who survives. The initial four and Rhodey. Yep. The character moments, there's always going to be people that are disappointed in how certain characters are done in these kind of movies, but this is a massive ensemble movie. So Black Widow wasn't given much to do.
Right.
She really wasn't. She had like 2 fights with Proxima Midnight, who looked a lot like Senua from Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Right.
Steve Rogers wasn't necessarily given much to do.
Show up and punch things.
But Steve and Nat, not intergalactic travelers, not flyers, nothing like that.
Right.
Your terrestrial characters, I don't see having much to do, since so much of the action took place off planet.
Right.
They had 2 stones to get on Earth, I understand, but they also had ones to get elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So I can sort of see nowhere. How... Right. So I can sort of see how people were going to be disappointed in their characters, but they need to understand... too bad. If you want all your characters to have all the moments you want them to have, it's gonna be strap in for a 12-hour movie and shut up.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I made the point that the character moments that were there, that the time was given to, was great. I mean, Thor interacting with the Guardians was very well done.
I liked their reverence for him. The pirate angel baby. I thought that was really good. The moments between Doctor Strange, that sort of antagonist between Strange and Iron Man, I really liked. Oh my God, Tom Holland, his last scene, which he improvised, he pulled that on Robert Downey Jr. Didn't tell me he was doing it. So like when he's fading and he's doing that, I don't want to go. Yeah, he improvised that. He pulled that on Robert Downey Jr. He didn't. That wasn't the script. Yeah, and apparently Downey was kind of pissed that he did. He's like, "Oh, you bastard." I think, I don't know, if I'm wrong, correct me by all means, RDJ. Love you.
He calls us. He calls the hotline. That's not how it happened, asshole. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can I buy you a taco? Dude, tacos with RDJ? I'd be so down.
We'd never see you again.
I'd have so many questions, like, about not even his comic movies, like his entire career, and I wouldn't be like that jerk asking me about your bad history. All good things for you, sir. You deserve it. The Thanos motivation, like I say, it didn't bother me. I could understand, I could sympathize, but by the same token, I don't like people.
Right.
So if I wake up tomorrow and I'm still alive and half the rest of the planet's gone, I'm going, oh my God, the lines are going to be so much shorter. I'm not going to have to see so many asses hanging out of so many shorts in a Walmart.
Yeah, lines would be shorter, but so would the workers there, so the lines would still take just as long.
Yeah, thievery would be a lot easier.
I like that idea.
No, you don't. You work in retail.
He doesn't care about
end of the world. I'm not working retail anymore.
Yeah, right.
The wasteland doesn't need
like,
shoppers.
What kind of bullshit Ayn Rand post-apocalypse are you fucking reading? It's the end of the world, but the pillars of capitalism and retail marketing must stand. Only one man can do it. I present to you the sales associate.
You need me at that register.
Oh, Jesus. God, we're doing this again. Love it. But no, overall, I liked it. It's actually in my top 3 on Marvel films, beginning to end. I was very, very, very satisfied with it. Like you said, the CG was a lot better than we saw in Black Panther. But Marvel films kind of always have had an issue with their CG. Mm-hmm. It's always had places where it was a bit wonky. As far as the stuff I didn't necessarily like, the flashback scene with Gamora and Thanos, I might have moved that to the very start of the film.
Oh, okay.
I might have put that right at the start. I think it just...
Yeah, I think that would have helped me.
I think pacing-wise, because it's a little jarring where it is.
The whole movie's very jarring about the random cuts to different planets and all that, and jumping storylines.
That didn't bother me, because it wasn't like mid-line.
Right, that made sense because you had so many things going on. You couldn't have Thor trying to remake a new hammer in our sun, to keep it a little bit closer to home or something like that. So yeah, I felt like the jumping, I understand it being jarring.
No, I think they just jumped too much.
Oh, okay.
They didn't do enough of a story at one point long enough before they just jumped somewhere else to jump back right where they left off.
That's fair.
I did not like the post-credits.
Yeah.
I didn't. I thought the post-credits was... And this is a problem I've had with a lot of post-credit sequences, especially with Marvels. I don't know. They just don't. They haven't done anything for me in a very long time.
See, I'm the opposite. I really like this post-credit because it's Nick Fury, so sad about his mom.
Ha ha ha! Because he says mother.
No, I mean,
but the Captain Marvel thing, it's like, do we need that? We know that's coming. That's been all over.
Right, but I think in moments like that, doing post credits like that, really, they don't answer. They make things more complicated because we know Captain Marvel in the Marvel universe is, as I'm looking at a Shazam box right now, she's incredibly powerful, can kick a lot of ass. Well, and her movie is taking place in the 90s,
right?
So she would have been could she have turned the tide in the fight with Thanos? Maybe not, but you had access to this character. You could have called her in a lot sooner.
Well, how do we know she even survived the snap?
Right, that could just be an empty phone call.
That literally, that's kind of the reason that bothers me. Oh my god, we got to see her symbol. I fucking know what her symbol looks like.
Right.
Why don't we just see her show up? Like, that is such a shit tease. It reminds me a lot of that season finale of The Walking Dead with Negan showing up. Like, it was. I hated that season finale.
It was it was daring people to not tune in, is what it was.
Well, and it wasn't a cliffhanger because cliffhangers leave you wondering what happens next. That season finale of The Walking Dead where Negan first shows up leaves you wondering what the fuck happened.
It was trolling.
It was exactly. It was,
and
trolling.
It wasn't the first time Walking Dead did that. They did that with Michonne when she first showed up too. Yeah. They ended on just a silhouette of her.
Right, but she didn't kill a principal cast member. Like, people who knew Michonne were going, "Oh, cool! There's Michonne. We're gonna get to see her." The Walking Dead one cut off right in the middle of a scene. Like, that's why I thought that was trolling, and I kind of felt. I don't know. I was very disappointed in that post-credits tease for Avengers because of that whole fact of, yeah, I know what her symbol looks like. Where was she? Yeah. Why don't? And obviously they didn't do much, and we don't know if she survived, so that's pointless. But now you've told us she did, right? Because that distress signal went out. Well, why did she survive?
Well, to be fair though, you know her symbol. You went with your dad? Does your dad know her symbol?
Jess doesn't know her symbol.
No, but guess what? I then had to explain that.
Yeah,
because they didn't. He didn't say, I'm going to call Captain Marvel.
That immediately starts PR for Captain Marvel movie. It was smart.
I think it would have done better with an appearance of the character.
See, I think you can do.
I think that would show their hand too much if they show the character. That
How can they be showing their hand too much though? If we've seen the slate of movies, it's not. I don't think it's showing that. I don't think it's necessary. Or show the symbol on the suit. And no, that's not because I want to see Brie Larson's boobs. There's nothing wrong with your boobs, Brie Larson, if you're willing. No, I'm just kidding. I have really backed myself into an. All
right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull Dave out of this one. We're going to go ahead and do another moment of Jerry's kid. New tradition here on Nerdsplain It, where we ask Jerry, how is his kid? Jerry, how's your kid?
She's good.
That's great to hear. Tune in next episode to see if Jerry's kid is still good. Let's transition here to a more think piece for Infinity War. Where do we think it goes? Where does Avengers 4 go? They're apparently not going to call it Infinity Gauntlet anymore because they were flipping the titles around when the books actually came out.
So what I would do is it's going to be a lot of time travel. I think they're going to find a way to time travel back to try to prevent him from getting the stones. So they're going to Back to Future 2 this, I want to say it is, where they're in the background of all the other Avengers movies, helping them, but at the same time staying hidden. And it's going to be great.
Are they wearing that fucking fedora like Marty was?
Yes.
And the leather jacket?
It's going to be a great way for them to retcon plot holes in other Avengers movies.
I would, hopefully by this time, the Fox deal may or may not be worked out. I would find a way to sneak in Hugh Jackman somewhere, because I need him in this movie.
It would explain the scratch marks on Thanos' cheeks.
Right? But yeah, I would time travel a lot to try to back up to get a stone away to prevent the future from happening. That's what I would do. And there's also set photos of like the original Avengers cap suit he's wearing again.
And they're wearing like a weird thing on their hand.
Yeah, so I'm thinking they're going to try to find a way to backtrack, which if Tony Stark is as smart as he can be, he can invent time travel.
Can anyone just use the gauntlet?
No. You have to be fairly immensely powerful in and of yourself to be able to wield it. That's why, like, when the Guardians, when they had a hold of the Power Stone, because that would have obliterated most people just trying to grab it. We actually saw that happen earlier in that movie. It took, Peter Quill being part human and part celestial, and then teaming with a bunch of other people that actually contain the power of one of them to wield all five takes some fortitude. Thanos is one person of maybe half dozen that can actually do it. Adam Strange is Adam Warlock. Why did I say Adam Strange? Adam Strange is a DC character. Adam Warlock. That's what I was talking about earlier. Sorry.
Okay.
I kept saying Adam
said
Strange.
Adam Strange.
No,
and
I know.
Like, wasn't that the guy that was showing up on Krypton?
Yeah. No, Adam Warlock. He's another character that can wield it, but then again, he can beat Thanos with Thanos wearing the gauntlet.
Okay.
So your idea was, okay, get the gauntlet on somebody else?
Yeah.
That's definitely not a one-size-fits-all. I mean, he's got sausage-linked fingers. The ladies love it.
But the gauntlet adjusts its own size.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, that's why both Thanos and Adam Warlock are able to wear it. They have very differently sized hands.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, you just have Adam Warlock in all his golden glory walking around with one big monster hand. That just makes no sense. Like, oh wow, he bats left-handed when he's alone.
I mean, who just looked like Hellboy with him?
This is true.
He looked like Morty from the third season of Rick and Morty when they're in the Mad Max universe, and he's got the sentient left arm that's all beefy and just murders people for him.
So Dave, where's Avengers 4 going?
I don't know.
Right. No,
well, there's a couple things that have to factor in. What characters are going to use? What deals are going to be finalized? The big one, though, is where's the gauntlet and where are the stones? He's not wearing it in his last scene watching the sunrise, but obviously, you don't wear every piece of clothing you have all the time. He does wear the exact same thing in every scene.
Right,
never
but
really
the
changes.
last time we saw the gauntlet, it was
broken.
But it was still on his hand, and every stone was still in it. So you have to figure out what happened to the gauntlet. Where are the stones? If they have to make a slight adjustment where the gauntlet was destroyed and the stones were blown to the wind, fine. But now you're repeating the whole search for the stones thing. Also, I can't see a reason. I really don't understand why the gauntlet was so damaged after a snap of the fingers. And yes, it emitted a lot of power, but each one of those stones was doing exactly what it was designed for. They were doing their jobs. And so a lot of it is, okay, what happened to the stones? What happened to the gauntlet? Who has them? Where are they? But also, what characters are being brought in? I'm guessing by the second one, Captain Marvel. I know that Adam Warlock, I think, is still up in the air.
No, he's they've flat out said he's appearing in Guardians 3, and that's after.
Okay, so then he's not in Avengers,
right?
Yeah, which that kind of sucks. Kind of a big character there historically. Although maybe they're using it to give Captain Marvel her moment. I don't know. And then, as Wookie said, what kinds of deals are going to be made? I mean, with the Fox deal, I'd be less X-Men, fine, but
it's all about that Fantastic Four.
Like Jackman, I don't necessarily. I'm ready for us to move on from Jackman.
How dare you, sir?
I think he had a great last outing. They get a fantastic.
It was a terrible last outing.
That's a conversation for another
Logan?
episode.
Yeah.
What
a waste.
Compared to the Wolverine and X-Men Origins?
No,
or
not
any of the previous
any of the
X-Men
good
films?
ones. Give him a good film under Marvel. He deserves that shit.
But I would, but honestly, if you've done 10 and haven't gotten one,
if Disney Mickey Mouse comes knocking, you're doing another one.
But if you've taken 10 tries and you haven't gotten one, why should I give you an 11?
Because this is under Mickey Mouse, not under
somebody,
the Fox.
Give it to somebody else. Also, I think Jackman has already picked, short list of people he'd love to see do it. I think Hardy was on the list.
Well, last I heard that he also said if Disney wants him to do it, he will very much consider that.
Yeah, and I know fans are, I know there's a lot of fans of Jackman as Wolverine, and the fact that for all the movies that they've done with Wolverine, he's been the same one, and there's a lot to say about that. And I think there have been some good outings with him, but I'd be more interested in seeing a Fantastic Four that is actually good for once. Principal reason among that is because now you can introduce the two most brilliant people in the Marvel Universe, which is Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom. That kind of brain power being added to Tony's, it would be so awesome to freaking see. And Banner's, brain power being there too.
With those four, they could invent time travel too.
I think time travel's a cop out. I think time travel's a shitty cop out.
I do feel like it's a cop out.
It's a poor plot device. Now to get these stones together and to undo, not by rewinding the damn clock, but by just bringing them back, a la Shinron and the Dragon Balls. That I'm fine with because that makes sense. But the Back to the Future cop out, I'd be so pissed if they went that route because I'd be shit writing.
I feel like that's an easy way out. So what are the other stones? What are other options?
Well, the theory that I had kind of prescribed to that I liked was, okay, with Ant-Man going to be involved in the next Avengers, and
if he survives the snap.
Right, if he survives
the snap. I already... Have you not heard the post-credits scene for Ant-Man and Wasp?
I don't do well with spoilers, Dave.
Oh, okay.
So it's on recording now.
So we'll just leave that out of it. But if Ant-Man is in Avengers Infinity War or Avengers 4, he's got the experience of going into the quantum realm, having him actually go inside the Soul Stone, and them having a way to pull Gamora out, thus removing the sacrifice that was made, then undoing the bond of the Soul Stone to Thanos.
Why do we believe Gamora's inside of the stone?
That's where
she's a corpse.
No, anybody that gets taken as by the stone or for sacrifice of the stone is in the
their
soul realm.
Goes into the stone.
So that's where everybody is. That's in the comics and stuff.
Okay, but that's not in the movie. You're taking stuff
right.
out of the comics
Holy shit,
and putting them into the movie that aren't there.
Right, but I was just saying this is the way I think it could work. I wasn't going off of... that was the question I posited to everybody, is where do we think this could go? And the three of you said, I don't know. So I'm actually going to answer...
I said to fuck with you.
Right, I get that, and then didn't really give much of anything else.
Okay, I talked for 5 minutes, but I didn't give much of anything. Got it.
You gonna be okay?
Huh?
You gonna be okay?
No, but go on.
Okay, we'll have that argument later. Wowzers. Awkward. So yeah, being able to pull Gamora out of there, and then thus breaking the bond of the Soul Stone to Thanos.
I do like that idea, though.
And then working outwards from there. If you can break the Soul Stone away, that's the tricky one. Okay, now you can work on the others.
Okay, so I got a question for you. They somehow bring Star-Lord back. Mm-hmm. Do they then just kill him again right away just because he's a dick?
You screwed the pooch on the whole thing.
Yeah. So, bye-bye, Star.
Before we close out the episode, I want to, like we did in the Luke Cage episode, I want to open the floor to Dave to talk about some of the more outside the mainstream or some of the other superhero TV shows, comic book TV shows that aren't getting as much love as like the Arrowverse and stuff like that. Dave last time talked about Legion. What have you got for this one?
Nothing. As I said at the beginning of the episode, I haven't had a chance to watch a whole heck of a lot. I'm about halfway through the second season of Jessica Jones, and I'm pulling through it. So I would have to say my new one, and this is from when I watched it a little while back, would probably be The Gifted. The Gifted, you can actually find the first season. I think it's just the first season on Hulu. It's actually an X-Men proxy series. You do have some amalgamations of X-Men characters in there, but you also do have some actual X-Men characters like Blink in there. And it's just a very neat series. I haven't delved too awfully far into it. but the characterizations and the acting and the effects and everything that I saw in there, I was pretty happy with. So if you're an X-Men fan, and especially if you like the sort of obscure side characters that you don't get to see in the movies that much, I would say give The Gifted a shot and see what you think about it.
Yeah, because I thought we were pretty surprised with having we thought it was Warpath. It was actually Warpath's older brother is in that. And,
oh my god, what is his name? I don't know.
And so, other characters like Sunspot. And...
It's not quite Sunspot. That's one of those amalgamations, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not technically Sunspot, but it's pretty damn close. It might as well be.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that, I think, is going to do it for this episode of Nerdsplain It, your favorite comic book podcast. We discussed what we thought of Avengers Infinity War. Kind of gave our 2 cents on it, battled it back and forth a little bit. As always, we're wanting to take recommendations or requests for episodes. You can reach out to us on the Nerdsplain It helpline at 805-669-7230. As always, I've been House.
Yo!
That's Dave. Jess.
Hi.
Wookie.
See you.
Take it easy, guys. Hey, remember that time I picked up at Starbucks? That was just today. World Star!
Oh, God. Why did you make it sound like a 1940s, variety show? Welcome to Wild Star!
Because I figured...
We're gonna have ourselves a good old throwdown here.
Because I figured if I didn't, you'd be disappointed in me.
In the left corner.
Corner.
Ringling Brothers and Bonham and Bailey Circus presents Wild Star!
Did you turn up the game just a second ago?
No, I turned up the volume. I just turned up the volume here because for some reason, when I did it here, it's the levels that it was picking up seemed low, but it might just be because I wasn't projecting. But see, even when I'm talking now, it seems like the general level is much lower, and that's only adjusting the volume, which should only be affecting headsets coming out of it. So right. I don't know. What is our game?
Okay.
Also, we're still in Omni. No, we're in...
She just changed it.
Oh, did you?